We're talking basketball, the top 8th grade teams. You heard me right. The top 8th grade teams in America are in San Diego this weekend for the IndiHoops World Championships. You can go out, check out the live action at Point Loma Nazarene and get more information at IndiHoops.com. That's IndiHoops.com. Do we have that right, Brian?
Perfect.
Okay, for more on the event, let's talk to the man. You are the founder, you are the brainchild, you are the inspiration. Kudos. I tip my cap to you, because to get something like this, to get a national brand going, that's no small feat. First of all, give us a brief background, your brief background, Brian.
Born and raised here. I went to Scripps Ranch High School. Always, played baseball, but loved basketball. And went to University of Arizona. When I came back, started coaching, and really got into club basketball for a few reasons and stuff like that. So started camps and leagues and tournaments with Top Gun basketball.
And now you've turned it into a business. Can you talk a little bit about 8th graders, assembling the best 8th graders in the nation? How does one do that?
So for doing this for a long time, I really fell in love with 8th grade, because it's it's when the game really becomes like a real basketball game. So I've been doing a lot of youth basketball, and it's the last time before they hit high school. So IndiHoops does the rankings, and we get the best, we do rankings of all the top teams in the country. So we formed a system to say, hey, let's end the last time they play 8th grade. Let's do it in San Diego and see who's the best.
All right, I'm going to ask this question a couple different ways, but let's start with, you get a lot of blowback from people saying, hey, let kids be kids, and now we're even getting to them earlier and making them specialize even sooner?
Yeah, I mean, we just basically copied, in a way, is Little League World Series. That's for 12-year-olds, and people seem to enjoy it. It's on TV, so we're like, basketball's pretty fun to watch, especially from most. I just want to let people know, like, how incredible 8th grade basketball really is. These guys are dunking. It's really fun basketball to watch. I think people don't know that.
And we're going to roll some of that video right now. How many scouts? I guess people are going to be scouting 8th graders at Point Loma Nazarene, will they not?
Well, yeah. I mean, that's.
Are they allowed to be there?
They're recruitable athletes when they hit 7th grade. So college coaches are not. It's not a live period, so they're not allowed to be there. But I was listening to the NBA commissioner, and he said the 8th grade rankings recently mirror a lot of how it ends too. So it's you could start scouting them definitely at this age.
So I want to ask that question again. So coaches can say the kids who are good in 8th grade are going to be the kids who are going to be studs as senior in high school.
It's not really. It doesn't really go like that, because sometimes some kids are a lot more mature. So a lot of times they develop after. But yeah, you could start to really see who's going to be good, for sure.
How many teams are in town for how many different places?
We have 12 teams. I'm really proud of, we have a team from Halifax, Nova Scotia, Canada, 2 from Florida, 1 from New York, Austin, Texas, 2 from Seattle.
Is it just hoops, or are they doing other things?
Well, they're just doing hoops, but we're encouraging them to go out to the beach and enjoy San Diego. That's why I like to show off the city, and so they can have a good time. Some of these teams, they've been together since they're in 3rd grade, so it's the last time for some of them.
One of the teams are the Slayers, right?
Yes.
And they're we say owner or general manager. They have a very famous general manager.
Yeah, it's funny because Keenan Allen's the owner of the team, and he's at training camp right now. So if he would have been there if they were the San Diego Chargers, but they're in LA, so he wasn't able to make it out to watch it.
So he's an absentee owner.
Yeah.
How good are the Slayers?
They're one of the top teams here in San Diego. It's a newer club, but they do a really good job. They play in all of our stuff, so it's fun that he's involved with it.
You have a national presence, do you not know?
Yeah, we're getting there.
And how did that happen? I mean, you're just, excuse me, but you're just some guy coming out of San Diego from Scripps Ranch, and now you have a national following.
Just consistently doing it. This is what I'm passionate about, so this is all I do. And we do rankings at IndiHoops. There was nothing that was organizing and consolidating club basketball into one place. It was all like wild, wild west. Now it's starting to get organized, starting to get popular. So we did the rankings, so we got really popular with that. And from there, we started doing some more events with that.
Saturday will be the championship game, but there's also going to be a slam dunk. 8th graders. I mean, I guess we're talking about the best of the best, are we not?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things you really have to go there to see it, to believe it. I mean, these kids 360 dunking, alley-oop. It's incredible. There's some really, really big-time players there, and I just want to make sure that 3 o'clock is a dunk contest. There's about 3 or 4 kids in there that it will be really fun, and then the championship.
I suspect you're going to have more than one TV camera there. Talk about kids like Jalen Hands, who you coach, that are, I mean, talk about the progression of some of these young kids.
Yeah, so Jalen was someone that I coached. I got him when he was 13, coached him 7th and 8th grade, and it's really, I mean, it's been incredible for me to watch the progression, because he was actually one of those players. I knew he was really, really good, but he didn't really have as much attention on him because he wasn't more physically mature. So he was later progressed. And so I always knew that he was going to be really, really good, but to where he is right now, I don't know if I could have predicted that.
It's an age-old battle between high school kids and club sports. Are we asking kids to specialize too soon? Is it too much basketball to be playing?
Yeah, I mean, in some ways, it is. I was just telling you earlier, I think that kids should play a lot of different sports and see what they want to do. But like we said, in 8th grade, you're starting to get, you got to start getting serious. And 8th grade is a time where you can say, all right, well, you got to kind of pick what you want to do.
But can't we let kids be kids? I mean, how much do you wrestle with that? Or are you over that?
I mean, a little bit. I mean, part of it is like with the social media and stuff like that. Like, it's just, you kind of have to blame that. I mean, that's the cat's, the cat's out of the bag on that one. So but to your point there, I would love to. I want this to be more about an experience and not about who's going to be pro. I want them to just have fun and enjoy being in San Diego with their team as well.
Well, one team that will not be there will be the Madison Edgewood 8th grade team. You're looking at. This is my 8th grade team.
That really was 8th grade, huh?
Yeah, 8th grade. I was the only kid to wear white shoes. They put the best kids in the front row. How would this team fare Saturday?
I told you, if you take care of the ball and you run good offense, you never know. But I don't know if you have the athleticism back in the day.
Probably not. Could you throw up the graphic that's going on? Mention KUSI, you get in free, everybody. IndiHoops.com. Brian Hershman, I suspect this is not going to be your last visit to KUSI.
I've been waiting for this. I was waiting for the call from you for years.
Got a dozen other questions I want to ask you. We ran out of time. Brian Hershman, Paul Rudy, we're done. Back to you guys.